planet Earth. The one thing this blue-green planet of ours is known for most of all is animals. They crowd the air. They clutter the land. They hog the sea. And they crowd the air. Some, like the duck, can't decide and take up valuable space in all three. There are now officially more animals than you can poke a stick at. If the entire population of China were ordered to poke a stick at a different animal each day, they'd be poking animals for the next 300 years and would still have 5 animals to go. This is Larry, a Liberian lemur. We know his name is Larry because all lemurs are called Larry. Every spring, Larry begins the long and arduous journey west in search of a mate, leaving his current mate behind. Despite the danger, each year Larry makes the 40,000-kilometer journey west to a location 8 kilometers east for one reason: lemurs have no sense of direction. Larry is just one of 4 billion lemurs on the planet that make up approximately a quarter of the Earth's estimated animal population. The precise number of animals on the Earth is unknown. That's because animals are masters of disguise and camouflage. Here, a herd of over 500 wildebeest disguise themselves as sand. And here, in what's left of the South American rainforest, a South American tree frog cunningly disguises itself as a South American tree. There's every chance that this African bush is crawling with the lesser African bush crawler that we can't see and may not exist. This log could well be home to the common spotted babbler that's never actually been spotted. Many animals have physically adapted their appearance to blend into their surroundings. Here a spotted babbler hides on the back of a leopard. The leopard itself is perfectly adapted to hide undetected on a leopard skin rug. Anywhere else, it sticks out like dog's balls. Dog's balls, on the other hand, are perfectly adapted to resemble kiwi fruit, allowing the dog to hide undetected in the kiwi fruit bush. Of course, if a kiwi comes along, the dog's in trouble. Lemurs, however, have no natural camouflage, so Larry has to keep moving in order not to be spotted by his natural enemy, the ant. Lemurs, adept at adapting, have adopted a deft and dapper approach to perambulation that minimizes the number of ants they tread on, so as not to annoy ants any more than necessary. Ants are just one of the many animals that Larry has to avoid on his journey. But why are there so many animals? The answer is sex. In the human world, having sex with an animal is frowned upon, but in nature it's quite okay. Whether they are designed to swim, fly, or whatever you'd call this, all animals are designed to reproduce. Those that aren't designed to reproduce anyway. What else have they got to do? Due to widespread unemployment in the animal kingdom, making the beast with 2 backs is just about all animals have to pass the time. With the dog came doggy style, which was adopted by many other species too lazy to come up with a style of their own. While there is only one sexual position in the animal kingdom, there are many methods of attracting a mate to mate with in it. To attract a mate, Larry's sphincter emits a unique subsonic pulse, which instantly puts other lemurs in the good time pickup mood of a disco. Lemurs aren't the only creatures stimulated by sound. Moles and shrews pick up with a series of shrieks so high-pitched that we can't hear them. However, if we could hear them, they'd sound like this. While shrews and lemurs use sound, other creatures use smell. The bushy whatnot emits a scent somewhere between a cheap brothel and a dozen Bacardi breezes, a clear sign to males that here's a female that's up for it. Here, captured for the first time, is the elaborate courtship dance of the rat-tailed mopcloth. More often than not, it's unsuccessful. Himself unsuccessful, Larry hops behind a tree for some much-needed relief with an unsuspecting mopcloth. Thanks to this incessant and almost continual fornication on the part of animals, new species are being constantly created. The resultant progeny includes such bizarre creatures as the buzzbee, the trilby, the hairy fuckknuckle, and the dick-faced baboon. In the Amazon basin alone, over 3,000 insects have been named. This one's called Brian, and that's Valerie, Jim, Raj, Little Nell, and Pat. And there are hundreds more that scientists just refer to as mate. But what is this creature? It looks like a tiny elephant, but it has the memory of a goldfish. It acts like a rodent, yet it doesn't like cheese. If you know, please ring this number now. Whatever it is, according to Charles Darwin, it's the result of natural selection. In the natural world on Earth, you're either animal, mineral, or vegetable. For example, this shark is a Pontiac potato. An exception is found in parts of Australia. The rock wallaby is apparently both a rock and a marsupial. Another exception is this, the tenuous link, a distant relative of the Liberian lemur. By June, Larry has reached northern Canada. Having travelled since January, Larry must replenish his energy if he's to have any chance of impressing a potential mate. He does this by osmosis. Pads on Larry's paws absorb essential nutrients from this unsuspecting northern Canadian tree frog. Lemurs aren't the only animals to use osmosis. Here a pygmy chimp sucks the life out of an unsuspecting Labrador. Osmosis is just one example of animal adaptation. The bat has extremely poor eyesight and navigates at night by continually banging into objects. Bats are the only creatures that hang upside down to eat, which gives them almost constant gastric reflux. Some animals have become strong and aggressive. These koalas are fighting over who has the fluffiest ears. Reptiles, on the other hand, are extremely stupid. This rare befuddled iguana has no idea what it's doing or where it's meant to be going. Yet it's the iguana's stupidity that helps it to survive. Some animals are miniatures, a few millimeters long, like this African microphant. Its cousin, the Indian microphant, is slightly larger. One of the most astonishing animals is the egg-laying mongoose, which scientists have calculated is almost 5 times more astonishing than its cousin, the desert mincer. But only half as astonishing as this, the soggy bludger. But why is there such immense variety? Wouldn't it be simpler to have just one animal that did all the things animals do? Many Christians claim that animals were created by this man, or possibly woman. A theory less popular with those that like the God one was put forward by Darwin, who first postulated that they all turned up on a bus. As this failed to account for where they all got money to purchase tickets, Darwin thought a bit harder and came up with the notion that animals are a product of dozens of years of evolution. Darwin speculated that rather than all turning up at once, animals appeared in a particular order. The anteater couldn't have existed before the ant, unless he did but was hungry or ate something less anty. The ant, in turn, couldn't have existed without the lemur, from which it gets all its vital nutrients. It's now been 18 months since Larry left Liberia. His drive for procreation has taken him over 200,000 kilometers, and he's now one day's leap from the lemur's spawning grounds, when suddenly, disaster strikes. Larry finds himself surrounded by ants. Keen not to become some ant's supper, Larry leaps for the leaves, safe in the knowledge that ants can't climb trees. Night falls and Larry is still surrounded. Ants are voracious eaters of lemurs. Thanks to ants, very few lemur hatchlings will ever make it to the open waters. All Larry can do is wait. If help doesn't come soon, he may miss the annual spawn-off. But what practical purpose do animals serve? Animals are the world's largest source of methane, without which the planet would freeze and everything would die. The only animal that doesn't regularly contribute to helping warm up the planet is the penguin, who does manufacture methane, but because the frozen tundra it lives on freezes up the sphincter, must go for up to 9 months of the year trying to hold it in. This explains why they're so buoyant in the water, and why each year they migrate thousands of miles to warmer climates where their sphincters will unthaw and they can finally let one rip. Methane has always played a vital role in life on Earth. Before Jesus, our planet was a cauldron of volcanic lava and ash. It was in this crucible by Arthur Miller that life first emerged. Since then, science has answered every question there is about the many strange and wonderful animals we have to share the planet with. But still, many questions about animals remain unanswered. Is it legal to marry an animal? Why do some creatures fly? While others sink like a stone? And really, what's the point of insects? It's a question Larry asks as, with the dawning of a new day, he wakes to find the ants have disappeared. Allowing a lady lemur to lay some lemur lovin' on Larry's lackluster Liberian loins. But lemur love is fleeting. However, all is not lost. Larry's disco sphincter attracts a like-minded young male, and they continue towards the spawning grounds. In no time at all they arrive, and Larry finally gets exactly what he's travelled over 400,000 kilometres for. The circle of life complete, Larry and his new little friend head off to complete the circle of life again next year, if ants don't get them first. Next week on The Call of Nature, the miracle of flight.